and welcome to Kenn's Wild Tea, where we break down and dish out the tea on your favorite anime. I'm Wildcard,
And I'm Kenn.
and today we will be discussing Castlevania Seasons 1 and 2. Bree will also be joining us this month.
Before we begin, please keep in mind that all of our podcasts are based off the English dub. We'll also be discussing major plot points, so this is your official spoiler warning.
Welcome, guys! So yes, as you can see, we're all kind of decked up in Halloween-ish stuff. Kenn.
I'm here. It's just minimalist. I got a ghost.
Because yes, this is your Halloween episode. I will be releasing this on Halloween. I'm gonna make sure of that. Meaning I gotta edit it beforehand so I can release it on a timer. Yes, welcome, Halloween edition of our wonderful podcast, Kenn's Wild Tea, where we break down the anime that you guys want to watch, or should watch, I guess. I don't know.
I view this one as a should.
Yeah.
Should.
Yeah, that is a big should for this one.
So yeah, so the way we do this, as always, is we kind of do a brief summary of each episode, or the ones we've covered at least, for this podcast, or this episode of our podcast. Once we're done our brief summary of the episode, we give our opinion of that episode. And then when we're done, we are going to give a brief summary on what we think of the anime. And I've got a new rating system for us, so we can break down that and go into that. On top of that, we also talk about whether or not there's going to be another season, what's going on with it, if there's more seasons to watch, all that kind of stuff. I actually did research it this time, unlike last time. But yes, so we get to get into that and break that down and see what's next. So this time around we're doing Castlevania. So we did the first 2 seasons, or the first 12 episodes, for those of you that care about episodes rather than seasons. This is one of those ones that you kind of care about episodes more, because the seasons just blend. For this series, anyway. I completely forgot that it was only 4 episodes for the first season, because I believe I started watching it when the second season was already out. So it was weird watching it as seasons this time around. So yeah. Again, this was on Netflix for anyone who still hasn't watched it and wants to see it. And again, reminder, spoilers, because here we go. Fuck it, I'm taking these out.
I was gonna say, I'm like, please tell me she's not gonna do this the whole time.
Okay, I took out my fake teeth. I'm
That
sorry.
was like me earlier, and I just ripped off like the wings and like the headband. I was like, nah.
They're too much
Oh,
of a
God.
inconvenience. I keep trying to like avoid them as I'm talking, and it's not working.
Oh,
So
man.
yes.
I'm sorry I brought light to it, but I was...
Well, they were already in the way. It was going to be annoying eventually anyway.
Okay.
I just made it a little easier. Anyway. So, to start off, we have our main characters, which are Vladimir Tepish, aka Dracula, Trevor Belmont, or how I like to call him, just Belmont. If I reference just Belmont, it's him.
Well, he's the only one, so
yeah, I
it makes sense.
know. Which happens to be the long lost son of the Belmonts, because I guess he's the only survivor of the Belmonts. Then we got Cypher. I did not know how to.
Cypher.
I did not know how to.
Cypher.
Sorry. Every time I heard it, it was
He's
just
like,
Cypher.
I will rage.
All I hear is Cypher, so I'm sorry. Okay. Now we'll just. But yes, so we have Cypher, who is a speaker woman. I'm just gonna say Cypher. You guys gonna have to deal with it. Anyway, She is a speaker woman and also a magician, a magic user, whatever you want to call them. Then we've got Adrian Tepish, aka Alucard. Alucard, who is Dracula's son. For the first season, that is really all that matters. There's a couple, like, meh characters that pop in and then pop out almost immediately. One of which is Lisa, which is literally part of this episode, this first episode, who happens to be Dracula's wife, or eventually becomes Dracula's wife. We'll not go into more detail on that because it's literally the next episode.
Yep.
Okay, so episode 1, we start off at Dracula's castle. A woman with a knife approaches the castle. We find out it's Lisa. Once she approaches the castle, enters the castle, wants to become a doctor. She's not afraid of Dracula whatsoever. He shows up. Obviously, it's his castle. You expect him to show up in his castle. She's not afraid of the vampire at all, which is kind of weird, because she's human, and everyone should be afraid of vampires.
Yeah, literally.
At least in this series. So yeah, she's not afraid of Dracula, and Dracula is actually fascinated by her because of this. She's looking for science, and he obliges. Time later, the church burns her at the stake, claiming that she is a witch. Dracula apparently married her. Dracula will seek revenge. She begs him not to. Dracula finds their home burnt to a crisp. Dracula cries blood. He warns the old lady that ends up visiting of what's to come, and she literally books it, realizing what he is now. Dracula appears as the fire in front of the church people, threatens to destroy humankind in a year if they cannot prove they deserve to live. In other words, if they can't prove that they have changed their ways, he will destroy them. His son sides with humanity and fights him. 1 year later, a bishop dares challenge Dracula's words, and Dracula appears with blood and fire.
He's like, how dare you fucking challenge me, you bitch.
You
die.
Was that a challenge?
Yeah.
The second I saw him pop up, I'm like, you're dead. You're all dead now.
Oh, God.
Dracula summoned an army from hell itself, and he sends them to kill all humanity.
I heard he was talking shit.
And then we cut to now, to like a year later, or something. I don't remember how long it was. We cut to another area. Belmont is sitting at a bar. We don't know it's him, but we do know it's him. It's him. We don't know his name technically yet. They start talking about the Horde and how they should have killed all the Belmonts, and he starts hiding. And that's where we cut. Cut that episode.
Oh, shit.
Did I miss anything you guys wanted to add in?
No, I don't think so.
I did kind of like summarize it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens in that first episode.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I got news for you. This isn't my shortest one. They are all like this.
It's okay.
Every episode is like this, but a lot happens every episode.
Oh, you should see my notes. Season 2 is quite hilarious.
Yeah, no, season 2 gets longer.
This is one of those ones where I don't need the notes and I just have it memorized by brain.
Oh, for God's sakes. See, the problem I have is there's no way I can do that with my freaking attention span. I will immediately change that around.
When I couldn't watch it with the watch party because I was just sitting here like this. The entire time, like glued.
Yeah. No, that's what happened to me in season 2. Like, I didn't I hardly took any notes for season 2 because I was just like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, I was like zonked into the TV screen.
That was me on episode 7, as I realized,
Yep.
I think it was like 15 minutes in, I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be taking notes, stop!
Oh yeah, fingers. Start typing.
But yes, episode 2, or wait, no, opinions on this episode, sorry, I forgot a step.
I was a little nervous watching this first episode because it's not the normal vibe that I usually watch with an anime.
Yeah. That's because it's not an anime.
Okay, well, whatever.
It's technically an anime.
It's technically a cartoon, but yeah.
No.
Well, that's another thing I was gonna ask you, because the animation is a little different. It's like not quite 3D, but it has the potential to be.
Yeah. So
You
it's
know what I
not
mean?
cartoon nor anime in my
It's
opinion.
more of a
Yeah.
It's more of a cartoon in the way of animation wise. The subject
Yeah.
of it makes you think, like the subject of it and the way it's played out gives you kind of more anime vibes, but it's kind of like a cross between it. I'd say it's kind of close to like Ruby, where it wasn't technically an anime, but they wanted it to be anime styled.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm leaning towards. However, Ruby has now become an anime because they've literally made it into an anime. But
Regardless, I was nervous when I first started watching it because it's not normally the kind of show that I like watch. Like the vibe of it was kind of like not what I normally watch. But then when you get into episode 2 and the vibe, like the vibe from episode 2 and 1 are very different.
yeah.
Yeah.
The vibe from episode 2 is the stuff that I normally watch. So as soon as episode 2 started, I was like, okay, I'm in. You know what I mean? So the first episode I was a little rocky, but
It doesn't help that it's the whole like the burning at the stake episode either. Like it's a dark subject immediately.
It's a very
First
dark
episode is literally just like a catch up of this is what's happened and that's why all this shit's happening now.
This is what happened, and here's exactly what the chaos has come because of it.
Like and here's the start. Here's where we are. Here's why.
And yeah. So a bit of chaos, but still. Episode 2, guys. So Belmont gets in a fight with the townspeople that were talking shit about his people. Townsfolk think Belmonts are to blame for the undead horde killing everyone. Obviously not. It's a back and forth fight. It doesn't end immediately. And we don't quite see what happens at the end of it, because all you just see is Belmont walk out of the friggin' the tavern, the bar, whatever you want to call it. He just walks out.
He kicked their butts.
Yeah, he won in the end. I wouldn't say that he kicked their butts. He got his ass kicked too.
Oh yeah, no. He definitely got his ass kicked a little bit.
I also just love his attitude in that whole scene too. Like the one guy goes, like, because they're trying to figure out who he is, right? And he's like, well, what's that on your shirt? What's that on your chest? And he's like, my shirt. Yeah.
When I tell you I love this man.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's great.
He is the best. Monsters have already hit the city he was heading to. He has to crawl through a sewer to get into town because the gate was blocked, which is stupid on so many things. But he makes a comment saying, there's no way in, but there's also a way out of the city because of what they did. Bellman asks about rumors going around, and they're starting to, the rumors pretty much point towards the townspeople hating on the speakers. And then we find out about the speakers. Speaker is a specific speaker, an old man, is under attack by church folk. Belmont whips the weapon, taking off the guy's finger. The church people then attack Belmont in retaliation. He takes out the guy's fucking eye out with his whip. Like, what the fuck?
Oops.
Yeah, just a subtle oops.
Belmont goes with the speaker. Belmont learns about why Dracula's army was summoned. learns of a protector under the city that he kind of heard like little bits of rumors of, but he of course just dismissed them. And then the speakers talk about them, so he's a little bit drawn to it, but not at the same time because he thinks it's just a hoax. Belmont, we find out that the Belmonts were slaughtered and exiled. Trevor is the last. He agrees to find a missing seeker. And that's where that episode ends. Anything else, guys, you guys want to add? Or did we just kind of add it as I went? No?
Just like I said with the last one, it just this is where it like kind of grabbed me because this is the kind of character that I love.
Yeah.
I love these kinds of characters.
When the priest pulled out like the knife and he's like, "Oh, that's not very priest-like."
Yeah.
Not only that, but he says like it's supposed to be a thief's knife on top of
thief's
that,
knife,
and it's
like...
a fucking cross at the same time. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
He's like, "What's a priest doing with that?"
Yeah.
Curious.
So our opinion of this episode, obviously we loved it. This is where we got introduced to Belmont in his full character, his stupid, cocky badassness, and at the same time being complete fumble character.
I think his character is kind of like not like his character is attracting because like he kind of has like not protagonist personality, but he has like a side character personality because this is a personality that a side character normally has.
Yep. But he's literally the main character of this whole
But he's
thing.
the main character, so like you get constant just like sarcasm and no bullshitting. It's great.
It's awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Belmont definitely makes this whole series. Like no one can tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
So episode 3, like this first season is going to fly by, guys. I mean it.
Good.
Belmont adventures into the catacombs, which lead beneath the city. Steps into a trap/hole and falls not once, but twice. Thinks he landed it. Thinks his reflexes landed it, and then immediately falls again.
When you try your best and you don't succeed.
Finds electricity and Cyclops that can turn people to stone with its laser eye beam thing. He stabs it into its eye, killing it and freeing the speaker. Of course, it takes a while before it actually gets that. It's like an actual fight scene. It's not like these fight scenes aren't quick. They purposely time these out to be entertaining and long, and you get to see it all and find out just how stupid Belmont is when it comes to fighting. You find out how rusty he is.
He's doing his best. He's doing his absolute best.
But yes, he frees the speaker. The speaker is a girl. He brings the girl home. I don't think we find out her name right away.
No, but she sasses him immediately.
Oh, yeah.
No, she does. She introduces herself, and then he whispers to her, "I don't care."
Oh, that's why. And I think she actually introduced herself as her full name, and I couldn't get it, so I just...
Yeah, no, that she did.
That's
That's why I said in quotations introduces herself, because I was not typing it out.
It was
I just like how
she
she turns around like, "Did you step on me?"
Yep.
A little bit. Rude.
But yes, he brings her back and tells them that the electricity they found is what is from the inside of Dracula's castle, and the fact that he believes it's all a trap, and if they continue to like go down there, it's just the plan is just to kill people because of the traps and stuff. The church captures Belmont. The bishop that killed Dracula's wife is there. He talks about killing the speakers and Belmont if he helps the speakers and stays in the city. Belmont warns the speakers. They try to convince him to help, and that they will not run. They talk about proving that they will not be like the others that proved Dracula's point. And then cut. Belmont is sitting, waiting for the mob in the place that the speakers were hiding. When the mob comes, the speakers are all safe because they're down in the crypt. Belmont gets attacked and fights back. Belmont manages to fight off the church. And that is the end of that episode, is him just running for his life while still killing people. Opinions of this episode.
Has one of the best lines. A few of the best lines.
Go for it. If you've got those written down.
I could piss in a bucket and tell him it's beer.
Yes! I forgot about that one.
That was a good one.
Fuck, I love them so much.
Love it. Anything else, Dad? Or are we good on that one?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Needed to add that one in there because
no, that was good. That was good.
Episode 4. Yes, guys, this is the last episode of this season. What?
They're just getting their bearings.
I know, all. Right? It's literally just beginning to tell the story. Belmont is being chased by the mob. Monsters come for the bishop. They kill the bishop inside the church. The horde is upon the city. Cypher is a magician. See, this is the only time I actually put her name down. Belmont tells villagers the truth and helps them fight off the demons / vampires / whatever you want to fucking call them. The night horde, the night monsters, the night army. The millions of fucking names for that shit.
Essentially just demons.
Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of demons. Belmont and Cypher fall under the city and find the sleeping protector. Belmont and the vampire fight. It ends up being a vampire, obviously.
It's also very interesting fight.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of tension in that fight.
Oh yeah, it's like, hey, who's gonna die? Are they gonna die? Wait, what?
It's not.
It's a very even fight. It's stupid even.
Hear me out. They were a little too vibing with each other through that fight, which I found hilarious.
Mm-hmm. But yes, they are surprisingly even. It turns out that vampire is Dracula's son, Alucard. Or, yeah, he introduces himself as Adrian Tempish, aka Alucard.
Why does every character in a TV show named Adrian have daddy issues?
Miraculous reference!
I'm just gonna lay that in there and walk away.
Reference. It's not always true, but it's mostly true.
It's mostly true.
So yes, Speaker were told a hunter, scholar, and the savior can stop Dracula. Hence, them working together. And that's the end of the first season. Opinions, guys. What the fuck?
You also missed one of the great things where it's the try not to kill each other. Is the we're not children. It's like, fuck you. Yes, eat shit and die.
They definitely seem like children with how much they fight.
Yeah.
And it gets brought up later why.
Yeah, it does. It's like it does.
It gets brought up
them
so
out.
much
That
later.
is like her whole
So
job
much
is
later.
just calling them out on their bullshit.
Oh yeah, she's like their mom.
She really is. It's ridiculous. Yes, opinions of the first season.
I think I get why they made it really short, because like they got to where they needed to be to set themselves up for the thing they needed to do the next season. You know what I mean? There wasn't really much else they needed to do to plan for the next season.
essentially, the way I look at it, it's the parties being introduced
Mhm.
and then the stories being told.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting all the meat and potatoes before you get the whole soup in the next episode, so to say. Now, that was very teacher of me to say, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was.
Getting
Yeah,
that garlic bread
I
Mhm.
was.
before the meal.
I was
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
shocked. Honestly, I was so shocked at how short this first season is. But again,
Mhm.
when I originally watched this series, I watched the first 2 seasons because the first 2 seasons were already out. So, like,
Yeah, so you just barreled.
to me, it didn't, in my head, it didn't process that was the season because I just kept going. So to me, the first and second season were like season 1 to me. So
Well, altogether, it's like 12 episodes, right? So that
yeah,
technically like is a
normally
season
is
length.
the length of a season, but they purposely cliffhangered it.
Yeah.
But yes, now with season 2.
Okay.
Can we also comment on the fact that like the demons were like, "You're the reason we're here. We love you," to the priest?
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just like, did he like eat him? Like,
He was
what
like,
was that?
"I'm gonna give you
ate
kiss,"
half
and then he
of
like
his-
fucking ripped his head off.
He ate half of his head.
Okay.
Because we see
That
his
wasn't
body
totally
later.
okay.
We see his body
Okay.
later.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I forgot if he took off the whole head or like
no,
half the head.
it was part of the head because you see.
But he was like, "Let me kiss you."
They purposely made it so that way you
Jesus.
could tell who it was for when you saw the dead body.
Okay.
So they made sure to leave most of his head. But
Still
yeah,
didn't know.
it was
so.
like this part
Wah-wah.
of his head was gone, like right here, so they could get to the brain and then left the rest.
What are these
soup.
zombies?
It's zombie like, yeah.
Good soup. Fuck off.
Yes. Episode 1, we start off with a flashback of Dracula's wife healing the old lady that we saw from the first episode. Yeah, the first episode.
Sorry to interject so freaking early, but I literally only have one note for all of season 2, and it is right here. One note for all of season 2 because I have just sat there and watched it. And it's when she gave her the medicine and it was that mold in the cherry thing. She's like, yeah, it's mold off of bread. And the lady's like, you're giving me mold? And I said, LOL, she just gave her penicillin. And that's the only note I have for season 2.
I didn't even clue into that.
Yeah, it's
That's all I have.
Even clue into that. Oh my god. Oh, I should have known that. I watched freaking Outlander and they literally make penicillin in it.
But yeah, that's literally the only note I have. I will send you a screenshot. That's it. The rest is memory, so here we go. Okay, continue.
So yes, flashback to her. She's in the middle of healing the old lady. This is the day she was caught. She gave the old lady medicine. I didn't specify any of that, but we find out it's penicillin. Thank you, Kenn.
It's not important. I just thought it was funny.
But yes, the old lady went on about how like she's been given multiple things. One ended up being just foot skin, dried foot skin, and then leaves to chew. But no, this is a mold and wine. Penicillin.
Flavored penicillin.
The church ransacks their house. They find her medicine room and take her away, calling her a witch. She warns of Dracula's wrath. They think she meant Satan, though, not Dracula. They burn their house down. Back to Dracula now. He meets with his generals. Dracula has 2 human generals. Because they aren't driven by thirst, they are chosen to lead the plan. They are loyal, or so we're told. The vampire generals are happy about Dracula's choices. The human generals truly hate humans. They understand Dracula's reasoning, or at least one really does. One of the generals killed their own parents. And then we cut. Speakers leave the city. Belmont, Cypher, and Alucard travel together. The town survived the horde that attacked. Back to Hector, who's one of the human generals. And then Godbrand, who's a vampire Viking general asshole.
What a label.
He's something.
He is a thing. Like, no one... He's one of those characters that you're not meant to like.
That means he's a good character, though.
You're right.
I hate him, but I like him because he's a fucking idiot.
You love to hate him.
You love to hate him.
Yeah.
You do.
Because you sit there and he does something, you're just like, what? Why?
Because.
We find out that the humans are forge masters. Hector literally forges a human dead body into the monsters. And Dracula moves the castle. Teleport.
House on wheels.
Yeah, but it's not on wheels. Because that's Hal's moving castle, but that's not technically wheels either. Opinions of this episode.
I don't remember a lot of it, so I don't have an opinion.
There's a lot of information in this one episode.
Yeah, I know.
This is where you can kind of see how Dracula really feels about the war. You can literally see it right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
At least I could see it. It was ooh, you don't care.
Not truly, no. He stopped caring. He stopped caring because all it was about was revenge for his wife, and then it became something else later on.
Yeah,
he's just depressed. He's a
very depressed man who lost the love of his life and just wants to join her in the afterlife.
Okay, but hear me out. Hear me out. I know, like, he's supposed to be like the villain.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate him so much.
He's supposed to be the villain, and in all honesty, like, you think he's the villain.
I feel bad for the guy.
He's the villain for the first season, and that is it. And then after that, he's no longer the villain, because we get introduced to someone else who's more of a villain than he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Girl boss, gatekeep, fucking gaslight.
She shows up in this next episode. Any other things to add for episode 1 before I move on?
No, I'm quite okay.
No, okay. Episode 2. Belmont, Cypher, and Alucard head to Belmont's family home. Or at least they decide to head there. Cut again. We're hopping back and forth a lot. Deal with it. Dracula's army is getting reckless and fighting with the humans. And then poof, this wonderful bitch shows up. I literally, the way I call it, so first of all, her name is Carmilla. The description I have, vampire bitch general.
I like her character a lot.
Hear me out.
You're supposed to like her and hate her at the same time. That's what she is.
Love it.
She is one of the few characters where I'm like, I can almost justify, like, every other character as to why I like them. Her, I'm like, no, you're a bitch and that's all you got.
That's all. But I still like you.
Like, I appreciate you, but also fuck you.
Yeah, no. She's one of those characters that makes you hate her whether you like it or not.
The more she talks, the more I dislike her.
Yeah. She literally challenges Dracula in front of him in front of everyone over why he didn't turn his now dead wife. Everyone was wondering it. She's just the one who vocalized it, and now everyone hates you.
She's just done with the shit. She's just like, you know what? Cut the fucking shit, Dracula. Tell us what the hell is up.
Why are we fighting the entire human race over your wife that was human that you
Yeah.
Over
were
your
an
human
idiot.
pet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Over
human
your
pet. Yeah, I
human
remember that
pet
line.
was her
Yes.
exact wording, yes.
Or
Yeah.
breeder at some point is what she used. And I was just
Mhm.
like,
So she ends up talking
Wow.
with Dracula in private. We find out that Godbrand was the one who told her where they were located, and found out that Godbrand literally wants in her pants. Just another reason to hate the damn dude. And of course, Carmilla is like, no way. She hates the damn man. I literally have a note saying she screams double crosser. Cause
When was that?
what? No. She doesn't actually scream. This is
but
what
like
my
her
note,
entire vibe.
like her note, everything
okay. I was like, what?
screams she's going to double cross Dracula.
Okay. Yes.
Hear me
Okay,
out.
yes.
Her whole character reminds me of like the really radical feminist protesters.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
she's not
feminism
wrong.
is good. But she's the radical version, and I'm like,
Yeah,
Which is why I like to hate her, because I really am not a fan of those feminist radical people. So, like, when you find a character like that in a show, I'm like, yes, I can hate something and be okay to hate it. This is great.
like she's designed to be hated, and that's the thing, is that they
Exactly.
did it so
they
well.
did a good job, like with her
Yeah.
character.
Yep.
So much so that I dislike her so much.
And then we cut back. We find out Alucard is half vampire and half human. Alucard tells Belmont and Cypher about how his parents met. Dracula would change the world for the better if it weren't for the church killing his wife. Now Dracula plans to create an endless night and destroy all humans. The trio are attacked by monsters along their way to Belmont's home. Cypher... I had to put this down. During that battle, Cypher is totally a firebender.
She like
literally
Zuko'd
moving
their ass.
like it. I was like... She's literally being like a bender, and I loved it. Then we cut back, and Isaac is the other human general, was a slave whipped when young. He is currently whipping himself. Isaac learns of Belmont, Cypher, and Alucard by using his magic abilities to bring back one of the dead creatures. They know to put an eye on the Belmont house. And that's the end of that episode. Anything?
To be fair, I wouldn't have done that if it weren't for Carmilla. Because they were like, okay, something attacked our monsters, and she's like, hold the fuck up. If there's a Belmont, look at the Belmont residence, because that's where everything is.
Everything against us is literally documented in that house, and we're not going to keep an eye on it. And Dracula's like, nah, I'm okay with them doing that, because then that means they'll kill me. Without saying it.
he's like, listen, I don't care anymore. Just do it.
At some point, it's said multiple times in the show, but the entirety of this war is just the world's longest suicide note.
It's mentioned near the last couple episodes.
It's mentioned a few times. I just don't remember exactly where.
Carmilla brings it up a couple of times, and then
Alucard brings it up.
And then, Alucard brings it up near the end, and it's more obvious that it is just a general suicide mission, just the longest and drawn-out version of it ever.
I know, and Carmilla's wrecking it. She's like,
Carmilla's
stop
like,
interfering with my plans.
It's like, why won't you let me bring us all down?
But yeah,
that's literally like the thing. He doesn't care.
No.
She's able to see it. No one else is.
No.
Whew. Sorry about that. So yes, episode 3 we start off with a flashback to Hector as a child. He finds a dead animal, a dog to be precise, and brings it back to life. It becomes his new little pet. When his parents see, they are in horror and scream, and that's where it cuts. Carmilla is trying to charm Hector. Carmilla tries to reinforce the Belmont estate situation and the fact that it needs to be guarded, and Dracula never did send anyone to it, blah, blah, blah. We learn of Hector's and Dracula's meeting. Hector joins him under conditions of humans becoming nothing but livestock. So they still survive, just they're maintained as livestock for the vampires. Carmilla convinces Hector to create loyal servants for her and sends them to her command. What? Yes. Something like that. I put that in there really wrong. The trio arrive to the Belmont estate. Belmont finds the entrance to the vault. The vault door was sealed by magic. The vault is a huge collection of monster-killing info. As well as monster-killing trophies.
That display case.
Just a whole lot of vampire skulls.
With a baby.
A baby vampire.
Heads.
Well, it's probably a child. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a baby.
It was small. It was
a
real
small skull. Belmont finds something, a chest, with his morning star. I put in brackets. It's a chain whip thing. Because I wouldn't call that a morning star, but apparently it's his morning star. He calls it morning star. Godbrand asks about food supply if humans are wiped out. And of course, it's Dracula just trying to push it off and not bring up the subject. Godbrand thinks Dracula's on a suicide mission. There you go. Episode 3.
Yeah.
Episode 3 of the second season is where it's first mentioned. Carmilla killed her old master. That's what we find out. She find out, yes, she is one of those radical feminists that just want all men dead.
To be fair, in her situation, I probably would have did the same thing, but now she's taking it above and beyond.
Yeah, now she's just doing it again, and it's not necessary. Like, literally just let him do his suicide mission. He's not gonna win anyway.
Just sit in the sidelines and look pretty.
Sit on the sidelines, look pretty, and get out of there when it looks bad. Done.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be there.
Go in, say your piece, leave.
Like, yes, that's that episode. Anything else you want to add to that, guys?
In that episode, the Belmonts are getting called out a lot.
Yeah.
Because as much as like some of them used magic, it was definitely not as something that was well known.
To the point where the way to open the door, they didn't actually understand that it was magic. They just assumed it was
but it was
magic.
And everyone is like, your family's a bunch of hypocrites, and it's like, yeah.
And
we didn't know.
It's not like he would have known.
No, he was 12.
But he also hasn't been bashing Sypha for using magic this whole time. He's like, oh shit,
though.
You got abilities.
So that we find out in that episode that he was 12 to 14, somewhere in there, when the shit that happened to his house happened. So he was quite young, and the fact that he actually remembered about the vault is surprising. Okay? Surprising indeed.
He even remembers it opening is a thing.
Yeah, he remembered it being open, not opening. He just remembered it being open when they ended up bringing them in. He was never allowed in the room when they did it. Or something. I don't remember.
It was something they would teach him when he was older.
So then we, next episode. Episode starts off with Godbrand hunting for sport, not blood. Turns out it was a dream. Carmilla is turning him against Dracula. Not that it took much convincing.
Yeah.
It really didn't.
I think they're all just kind of like, Dracula, we're concerned, and I think we need to like do something.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention something. I think it was this episode. Maybe it wasn't. But Isaac, maybe it's this one. Isaac walks into the room where all the generals were and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and he could tell that Dracula was alone. He made a comment about it. I don't know if it's this episode or one later, but he does make a comment about it, saying that you're all alone under his breath, because he realized that it was literally just Dracula on one side and everyone else was on another.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so Carmilla turns him against Dracula. Carmilla is trying to turn Hector against Dracula as well. Hector realizes Dracula lied to him about humanity becoming cattle. Carmilla plans to overthrow Dracula, obviously, but that's the first time we actually realize what exactly she plans on doing. She starts mentioning it and stuff. Flashback. Dracula meets Isaac. Dracula recruits him, and Dracula calls it a war, but he sees he seeks an extermination, and Isaac knew and understood that as he agreed. Godbrand and the other vampire generals leave and hunt in a nearby city, disregarding Dracula's words, Dracula's rules and stuff. Dracula is growing suspicious. Isaac is the only one truly loyal to Dracula, as we learn. The vampire generals attack the town to feast. The trio are still researching, looking for the way to kill Dracula. Godbrand tries to convert Isaac. Isaac kills him because of it. And that's where we end it. So Isaac realizes that Godbrand is trying to overthrow Dracula and immediately kills him the second he brings it up.
Hear me out. I feel so bad for Hector. I love Hector. Hector's just been lied to left, right, and center.
See, I like Isaac because he's the loyal one.
But hear me out. Dracula didn't even tell Isaac, told Isaac the truth. He told Isaac the truth. They didn't tell Hector the truth.
That's because it was...
all his loyalty is based on a lie.
That's because with Hector made that condition, and Dracula just said, sure.
But still, you can't expect someone to be loyal when you lie to them.
Well, yeah.
It's... You're not being loyal to them. I feel bad for this man. He has no sense of judgment.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
He is, as Camilla says, a puppy.
Yep.
And I feel so bad. I'm like, buddy, stop.
Oh, poor baby.
Just leave.
Oh, did you get hurt by the mean man's words?
Just leave.
I'm sorry.
Go live a life
I don't like
on
Hector.
your own.
I don't like Hector.
He needs someone that is going to just kind of sit by him and not let the world push him around. Because that's what's happening. He is literally just being thrown from one side to the other because he's so easily taken advantage of. And I feel bad for him.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel bad for him too, but I think I like Isaac better as well.
Isaac scares me.
Yeah, Isaac
scares
is scary, but he's
I kind of like
in a good way.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like him being scary. In the later episodes.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, sir, you went through something so traumatic, and you're sitting there doing it to yourself. My guy, you need some help.
Well, that wasn't the only thing that was going on with him. He was a slave. He was a literal slave. I'm sure they treated him worse than that.
Oh,
but
I know.
That is where they cut to.
But it's the fact that that's something very traumatic, and he's still doing it to himself to this day. And I'm like, sir, you need some help.
And I guess
everyone in this show needs some help, to be fair. I
guess we should kind of add that when it came to Isaac with him growing up and stuff, with that scene, we found out that he was a slave to a church person, and he got whipped because he was trying to read and research to help the man he was bought by. And the man whipped him anyway, even after learning that was why, and said, "This is how I love you." And then immediately Isaac's like, I kill you now.
No, like, out of the two, I like them both. I feel bad for Hector because he's so easily manipulated.
And that's the reason why I don't like him, I think, is how easily he is manipulated, is why I don't think I grew that attachment as I did with kind of Isaac. Is like, Isaac realized what was going on and was like, this is not happening, and I am not allowing it. And that's, I guess, the way I like him. I don't know.
I look at Hector as, like, he's probably still really young. He
Inside,
seems young.
internally, yes.
He seems like a young character, yeah.
Yeah, he seems more baby-faced than some of the others.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to tell with the animation
He
style.
also killed his parents, so, like,
he's kind of
maybe a rash move.
Maybe a rash move.
Maybe.
Because
quite possibly.
You know, he grew up not knowing how to judge people and, like, judge their actions. And just trust everything.
He killed his parents because they were beating him because he was bringing back undead pets.
Yeah.
That's why his parents got killed. And he burned them alive, is what he did.
Nice.
He's not the most sane. He's not the most sane.
No.
But he needs to learn how to judge people's actions and learn exactly who to trust, because he's got a bad track of that.
Yep. Okay. Let's move on to episode 5, or in this case, it is episode 9. Yes. Total episode, it's episode 9, but it's episode 5 of the second season. Isaac releases the ashes of Godbrand into the air, and we find out Carmilla is looking for him, like, where the fuck is this idiot? And we're all just sitting there like, yes, he's dead.
Just sitting there like,
Carmilla, he's dead.
Sweetie, you're not gonna find him.
The trio continue their search, and they're researching Alucard. We find out Alucard ages super fast, and thus is a teenager in an adult body.
I love that. Right? They're just sitting there, and what's her name again? Sorry,
Cypher.
Sypha's sitting there. She's like, so you must be a teenager then. Like, they're just sitting there having a conversation, and his face is like,
she's literally like, you're a teenager in an adult body. That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
it's like he's sitting there the entire time just ridiculing Trevor. Yeah. And she's like, you're not perfect either.
Yeah. You too are an idiot.
Yep.
But he also calls out the fact that they have, like, a bit of chemistry happening, because at that point you can see it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And he's like, I think you're getting distracted.
It's not wrong. But yes, then we cut again, and Hector is talking to Isaac. Hector is hoping to get him to agree to move to the city that Carmilla wants him to. I didn't write down the city. I know it gets brought up like a million times. It doesn't really matter, because it's gonna get changed anyway.
Denied.
Isaac agrees, but it feels fake. Isaac, it's something about the way he agreed to it. It felt like there was a second side to it. Like he knew that something bad was coming.
Well, I also thought that Hector was being kind of sneaky too, because they had to go all the way out into the middle of, like, the forest, like, way out of earshot of all the vampires to have this conversation.
Yep.
So
yes, Isaac. We find out Isaac literally reports this to Dracula, and it's just in hopes of stopping the fighting that's going on between the vampires. Isaac doesn't know the true plan, not yet anyway, that Camilla has planned anyway. Then we flash back to Dracula's earlier days, when he's Vlad Tepes, the Impaler, his original title.
So dramatic.
Kind of hot. Was kind of hot. Not gonna lie. I get why Lisa was down.
She's not wrong. But, like, damn. Then we come back. Carmilla claims to be in control. This offends Hector. And this is when fucking Hector, whole thing starts to go AWR. Cypher decodes the book that she found. The trio are attacked at the vault. And that's the end of that episode 5. Anything else to add, guys? No? Okay. Next episode.
Okay, so for the next 3 episodes, I turned on descriptive video because I was watching them while I was doing something else. And let me tell you, that was the best experience ever. Having someone describe everything that is happening in the video as it's happening is fucking hilarious. The one scene where there's like a monster with like big fists, he's like, and he goes like this, and then the descriptive video goes,
the first thing you see.
The descriptive video guy goes, monster lifts big fists and thrusts them on the ground.
I also love how this monster was like, it's not working. And then gets angrier and bigger, and then goes again, and it's not working still, and then just goes like fucking She-Hulk on it.
Yeah. Like, hold on, let me take some steroids and try again. Give me a second.
But yes, as they were saying, the monsters are attacking the Belmont Vault. Alucard and Belmont start working together. Cypher is trying to finish the spell. Alucard is trying to make a portal to Dracula's castle, or that's what we thought anyway, but apparently it's not going to be a portal. And Belmont is supposed to hold off the monsters that have broken their way in. Dracula is about to teleport the castle. Dracula teleports, and the vampire armies are unleashed upon the city. Belmont is struggling against a, I definitely spelled that wrong, Minotaur-like creature. Belmont takes it down, and then we cut again. Carmilla plans begin. Carmilla blesses the river using that priest's body. I guess Hector ended up turning him into one of the undead creatures, and he literally walks into the stream and is instructed to bless the stream, to the point where he literally disintegrates in the stream because he blessed the water.
Let me bless your waters with a corpse.
Yep, so now that Carmilla has blessed the water, she is now dropping all the other vampires into it by destroying the bridge that they were walking across. Not all of them did, but most of the army ends up going into the drink. Belmont holds the monsters off, but not for I say not for long, but he actually does a pretty good job at it.
One man.
Damn.
Who did not have full training. Keep that in mind, too.
No, he definitely did not. He
was like, what, 12, 14?
12 to 14, somewhere in there. And
that's what he's capable of?
Like,
if he had complete training, can you imagine?
He wouldn't have died. He'll never die.
Undefeatable.
He's already undefeatable. And then we cut back. Carmilla attacks Dracula, or sends his people after Dracula, and Carmilla takes Hector across the water. Cypher finds what she needs. Cypher is going to teleport the castle again, but towards them. Dracula learns that Carmilla betrayed them. The castle is fighting Cypher. And then it says, then I just got, Cypher did it. But now the castle is on top of them. And that's where that episode ends. Anyone wants to add anything in this one?
Bitch teleported a castle.
Yes, she did.
that she's never even seen.
Yep. So they use the mirror just to see the castle, and then ends up using it to teleport the damn castle. And she literally sits there fighting the damn castle for like a good 15 minutes while Belmont is fighting off the monsters.
Like that's impressive.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, these three are like very impressive in their own ways, and all of them are still very like childlike at the same time.
Oh.
Like features of them.
She is
The
like
boys-
the only one that is like somewhat adult-like, and she looks the youngest.
But no, like she has her moments. She picks fun at them.
But it's more to make sure,
And yeah, and
that
it's like
Belmont
a playful
isn't-
kind of.
yeah, she's making sure Belmont is still okay. Is what
Yeah.
she's doing. She literally makes that comment about it.
Yeah.
I think during this episode or the one before.
How she can do that with him, but can't do that with
Alucard, because he is literally just a child.
and he's kind of dead inside because his mother's dead and his father tried to kill him.
Well, his father purposely left him alive. We all know it. We all know it.
Yeah, but your dad still tried to kill you.
Yeah, the thought is still there.
But yes, so let's get on to the next episode. Dracula gets so angry he turns the moon red, or it looks like he turns the moon red. Because his eyes go red and the moon turns red at the same fucking time.
Which is crazy. It's like, wow, Dracula, you actually have emotions? Crazy.
You feel anything else besides dead inside?
Yeah, wow, crazy.
Cypher uses magic to get them out of the vault. All the vampires stop fighting each other the second the trio walk into the castle so they can kill the trio. Alucard turns into a white wolf, which, what? When did this happen? When can you do that?
That is a thing that in vampire lore, their lichens and stuff like that weren't really like a thing. But some of them were just vampires who were able to shapeshift.
Oh.
Instead of bats, it can be a wolf.
Because there is a difference between lichens and werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, lycanthrope is what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a difference between the two.
So was his mama lichen? Like, what the fuck was that?
No, that's just one of his vampire abilities. Some vampires are able to like shapeshift.
They can change their form into another creature. That's
And
where
I
the
think
whole bat thing came from. Is like some vampires could change into bats. This one changed to a white wolf. What?
All right.
I'm not complaining, okay?
Oh.
Yes. Alucard also uses his magic sword to kick butt, even while he's a wolf. So he literally goes through as a wolf, bites off a guy's arm, attacks the guy. He avoids it, sends his sword through the guy's arm, slicing it off, and then sends it right back into his face. All while he's a wolf. And then he changes back into his vampire form and kicks ass with the sword in general. I love that sword. I really do. I'm mad that it doesn't get used more often. Cypher slices vampires in half using magic ace. Belmont explodes them with his wonderful whip thing.
Because it's blessed.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's that or it's silver, one of the two. Either way.
I think it's. I
think
remember
it's a bit
him
of
saying
both.
it was blessed.
I think it's a bit.
I do remember.
He
saying
said
it
that
was
about
blessed.
his
Whip,
other
too.
whip. Yeah, his other whip was blessed. So I'm assuming this one would be the same thing. But I think it's also made with silver as well, which does help. Does help. The generals focus on Alucard, and that is their biggest mistake. Because of that, the others literally killed them. They focus so much on the other vampire that the others pop in and obliterated them.
You underestimate my power. I have the power of God and anime on my side.
Isaac sees the trio. Dracula Isaac sees the trio, warns Dracula of who's coming, and then Dracula, I say releases. What he does is he literally puts Isaac through the damn mirror teleport thingy and sends him into the desert, saving him from certain death.
He just like opens a portal to the desert and yeets him.
He saves him. He keeps him alive. Because he knows that if anyone can make his dream come true, it's him. Get out there. Alucard comes to kill his father. Dracula backhands Alucard until they start working together. Dracula kicks ass. Like literally Dracula just kicks each of their asses, and then the second that they start working together, his ass is getting kicked.
Hear me out. That battle, like, there's a reason there was a shift. And it's not because they started working together.
Yeah, it was because his opinion of why he was fighting changed.
Oh.
Because he realized that he was attacking his gift.
The last thing his wife gave him.
But that doesn't happen until after. I'm getting there. Give me a moment. Give me a moment, damn it. Alucard almost stakes him. Dracula is slowing down. Dracula stops when he sends Alucard into his son's room. Dracula realizes who he's trying to kill and lets his son kill him. Alucard stakes him through the heart. Alucard starts turning to dust, but isn't dead. And then Belmont steps in, slices his head off, and then Cypher burns the remains, releasing his soul and these soul-like things out of the castle, and they dissipate into the air. Alucard starts to feel bad for killing his father, but he saved the human race, and Belmont and Cypher start to show their feelings. Start to really show their feelings. They couldn't truly show that the fact that they like each other until the biggest threat to humankind was wiped off the earth. And we still have another episode, but what was our opinion of this one, guys?
Okay, there was
Pride.
there was a point when they were fighting, and they were in one of the hallways in the castle. And I wasn't looking at the TV at the time, but I had the descriptive video on. And the descriptive video said, Dracula creates a large fireball the size of the whole hallway, and it is running towards the heroes. And I'm like, cue Indiana Jones soundtrack. Let's go. I was like,
except it doesn't happen like that, because yeah, like this fucking like meteor sized bowling ball starts hurtling, flaming bowling ball starts hurtling towards the group. Cypher's like, no you don't, and starts to try to push it back. She can't do it by herself though, because she's getting pushed back by the force of it, and Belmont stands behind her to help her.
Yeah, I know. I just thought it was so funny, because like just the way that the descriptive video described it, and I was like, wait, what is actually happening? So I had to like look over at the TV, and I was like, oh, okay.
And then Alucard gets in front of it, grabs the sword, and stabs the thing, and then it starts to work. I'm like, that's how you do it? What?
It's the power of friendship.
That's literally what that was. But all I could think is when I saw that fireball, so I don't care how big the room is, I cast fireball. Like,
yes. Fireball. A fucking D&D reference here.
Like, the whole way, really?
I didn't ask how big the room is. I said fireball.
Except this fireball can be thrown back at you, so that's an even worse decision.
But yes, that was a very entertaining fighting episode.
I cried.
No, don't get me started. I almost did.
I fucking cried.
You guys are so emotional.
I am.
Kenn, do not even start.
What?
We both know you're just as emotional as me. When it comes to Miraculous, don't even.
When it comes to Miraculous, yeah. Because I'm
know you.
attached. I'm attached to these characters, not to these ones.
Oh, see, I just found it was like Vlad kind of realized what was happening. I was like, shit.
The saddest
And it's
part.
the fact that he killed his dad because he didn't want to, but he had to.
He had to save the human race.
Yeah, but again, that's something you really gotta live with. And that just sucks.
Yeah.
Man lost his mom because of a church, and then he had to kill his dad.
Yup.
Boy needs a hug.
So with this,
And he gets a hand on the shoulder instead.
Yeah, I was about to say, Trevor just like tapped him on the shoulder. It's like, it's okay, buddy. You can be upset. It's all right. You did it for the human race. Good job. He also gets. Wait, was it this episode or the next episode that he gets gifted the castle?
That's the next episode.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Like, stop rushing this. I'm trying to say something.
Hey.
So for this next episode, I remembered one part about it, and I had it typed in. And the saddest part was I had to keep bumping it further down because it didn't happen to the very end of the episode. I'm like, motherfucker! Like, I literally typed it out within the first 5 seconds of it, and then it didn't end up happening until the very last 5 minutes of the damn freaking episode. I'm like, God damn it. But yes, the trio winning, they explore the castle. Belmont gives Alucard his family vault as well as the castle to protect and guard it. Isaac still lives and travels the desert. He is approached by riders. They treat him like shit and he takes care of them, killing them all. Isaac eats a horse and turns the bodies into monsters.
What a sentence. Isaac eats a horse.
Well, I originally thought it was one of the humans, and then it cuts, and then I see a horse splayed and opened up. I'm like, nope, it's a horse. Cypher and Belmont discuss their future. What is next? They decide to hunt monsters. Cypher admits her desire to stay with Belmont. The city is in ruins. Hector doesn't understand what happened, and Carmilla does with the whole magic teleporting the castle. Carmilla decides to bring Hector by force. Hector resists and refuses to help. Carmilla beats the shit out of him, and she forces him to walk behind her horse. With Dracula dead, the trio separate. This is what I was talking about, by the way. With Dracula dead, the trio separate, and Alucard to guard the castle and the vault, Belmont and Cypher to hunt down the remaining monsters and keep saving people. Alucard starts to see sees a fragment of his father, and then I put or a memory, because originally I just assumed it was like a spirit of his father walking through. Nope, It could be a memory. It's probably a memory. And one of him and his mother when he was really young. Alucard finally mourns his lost family and bawls his eyes out. And that is where this first and second season ends. That is it. What is our opinion on this last episode, guys?
I like that in the end, Trevor was like trying to be soft with the goodbye, like, yeah, we're friends now. And Alucard was like, no, fuck you. Literally at the very end.
Yep.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Mm.
The saddest part is there's 2 more seasons. Okay.
That's not sad.
Well, yes and
Season
no.
3
Yes
gets
and no.
interesting, though, as
Let's
someone
not
who's
get into
watched
it.
it.
Don't get into it. I think I have seen season 3, but I don't remember any of it. Don't tell me.
It gets interesting. I'll just say that.
Okay. So yes, guys, there is 2 more seasons of this on Netflix. There is not, however, a 5th season coming out. I double checked, according to one of the many articles I have found, the 5th season is not going to be released. Netflix has canceled it.
Oh.
Yep.
Offended.
Yep. Yeah, literally,
You know
this
what?
article
Netflix
says
is just on such a downward spiral right
I
now.
know. Netflix is just going to the dogs.
it really
man.
is. But yes, so they canceled their 5th season. However, they do plan on doing a spin-off sequel called Castlevania Necturne. I may be saying that wrong, but that's what it's supposed to be, and that's supposed to be coming out sometime in fall next year, is what they think. So yeah, so that's coming out. I don't know, dudes. I don't know. So yeah. Let's get into the rating of what we think of the series, shall we? Okay. So we got a couple. I'm gonna give you like 5 different categories for it, and you guys are gonna rate it on a star level up to, or whatever you want to call it. We're doing it out of 5, so you get to do it based on that. So, first one is characters. Out of 5 stars, what is it? How did you
I have yet to
feel
find
about the
one
character?
character I don't like.
That's fair. That's fair. I think I have to say the same thing. There's not one character where it's like, this is like a stupid decision. Why is this character even in the show? So I think 5 is actually a good rating for
Everyone's
that.
there
So,
for a reason.
yep, I think so too.
But I still hate Godbrand.
But you love
can
to hate
hate
him. That's the point of it,
That's
though. You're
the
supposed to
point.
hate him.
He's a good, like, stupid villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you guys convinced me. I was gonna give him a 9, like a 4.5, but now I'll give him a 5. Yep. You guys convinced me. Okay. So we got 5 overalls from all of us on that one.
Nice.
The world and setting. What do we think of that?
Find it mesmerizing, but that's just also me. I get, like, sucked in. I find everything's very nice. And then it gets gory. And I'm still sucked in.
What's your rating, woman?
I'm gonna go with.
I'm gonna go with 4. I want to go with 4 because I don't want to give it a 5. So I'm gonna go with 4.
They're like, I love the animation. I do, and like,
Yeah, me
how
too.
everything's
Well,
like.
that's another category. Don't bring that up.
Oh, okay. Apologies. Damn.
But just for like the world and stuff like that, there are definitely some things where I found it like a little less like absorbing.
Yeah. So because of that, because I feel like there's a lot about the world we don't know, and like map wise we don't really see any maps, so we have no exactly idea of what they're talking about. So because of that, I'm gonna actually give it a 3 on the setting.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, there's no map. Like, we don't actually truly see what's going on with it.
Yeah, like we don't know the distance between all these places, like how close
Exactly.
are, like, yeah, that's a fair point.
I'm assuming it's somewhere closer to like the real kind of world map because they bring up France at some point, and how the Belmonts are originally from France and they moved to where they currently are. So I'm assuming it's roughly the same size.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I wish we knew a little bit more about the world.
Yeah.
It was like, I love what was given to us. It's just it wasn't enough in regards to the world development. And I know that this series is based off of the video game, but still, like, we still don't know much about it, and I'd like to know a little bit more about like the world itself. Because now Isaac's in the middle of a desert. Where the fuck's this desert? Like, it's one of those things where, like, we know that Dracula's traveled, but where all has he traveled? Like, we don't know what this world consists of, like what this layout is. So
that's also sorry, continue.
So like we're missing that extra aspect of like us getting to know more about the world, and I need that little extra.
I think the one thing that is nice though is that there is so many different settings instead of just one setting where everybody is all the time, so that it's not dry. You know what I mean? That is one. So like, as much as like we don't know how like close they are in like distance and stuff, it is nice to have all those different kinds of settings at the same time, which is why I think I'm going to stay at 4. Yeah.
I'll stick with the 4. If I had a map, I'd be 5, but like
If I had a map.
I'm big on like knowing where people are. So like that I'm gonna stick with my 3. I'm sorry. Okay. That's we've done 3, right? That's 3 or 2? Is that only 2?
We did 2 so far.
2. Okay. So then we've got our storytelling. What was our opinion of? I guess it's kind of said. Well, not really. How did we feel about the story of these seasons?
I loved it. But
sorry, go ahead.
Like there are some things that I was a little confused by, where it seemed like they were gonna touch more on it and they didn't. Like the vampire generals running out and like feasting on a town,
and then
you think there would have been like some consequence that followed that up, but there was nothing.
It was just them obliterating them for no reason. Yeah.
I didn't really see a point to that besides them just being fed up, which we already knew they were.
Yeah. Star rating.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with 4 because there are just some things without context, or they should have been followed up on.
This is more of like a personal thing. I am very just like, not stupid, but like stupid for lack of a better word. So like I like things very well explained to me. So I was confused a lot of the time just because I didn't really understand what was going on in a lot of the scenes, like when they were talking and stuff. So I spent a lot of the time when I was watching, especially the scenes where it was like Dracula's castle. I spent a lot of that time confused because I didn't really understand what was going on or like what they were doing or what they were talking about. So I'm gonna say 3.5 because I was just simply confused sometimes. But the other storytelling was great, but just for a personal sense, I was confused half the time. So
I'm actually in agreement with Ken. I'm thinking 3.5 because I feel like it was very rushed. They definitely had room to make more to put more episodes in, to explain more things, to get into a little more details about certain things. Like, yes, that one part was it was pointless. Like, I remember when I first watched it, I'm like, oh no, they're gonna get in shit, but nothing happened. Like, what the fuck? Nothing happened.
I was like, oh, they in for it, and then
nothing. Yeah, like there's a lot of bits and pieces that I wish they would elaborate a little more, or like with the Belmonts, I wish they'd go back into it a little bit more. Like we know a little bit about the Belmonts, but I wish we got to see like a bit more of like what happened with Trevor as he was growing up, that kind of stuff, so we can explain like how the fuck did he get all these skills when he left at like 14, 12. Like I wish there was a little bit more development in that kind of aspect where we knew a bit more about the characters, that like the main characters we got to see a bit about Dracula and what's going on with it, but like we never really got to see about Cypher, Alucard, and Trevor, and I wish that we got to see a bit more of them.
Another thing I was confused on was that they killed Dracula really fast.
Yeah,
like, that was like epically fast.
It was a whole
like
episode.
I just like, well, not even that, just like the progression of them like getting shit done to get to even the castle itself was just really fast. Like it was almost like SAO, you know what I mean? Like they'd skip like a bunch of levels, and like the first game was in like half of the season. That's kind of how I felt, that like everything just was like really fast.
Yeah, it definitely needed to slow down a bit because they rushed so much. Like the first season was a good pace where we literally had just like those 4 episodes were just to get Alucard. That was a perfect pace. And then when it came to the next season, they rushed it. They rushed it so much, and we had all this information going on in 8 episodes where they could have totally prolonged it. And it should have been prolonged. Like, if we're going to make short seasons, I wish they would have made them, like, sure, 4 episodes for each, like, little step. Like, the 4 episodes for us to get to Belmont's castle, like, Belmont's hold, their vault would make sense. And then, like, what's going on in the vault would be, like, another mini series, and then like there would be flashbacks and like what's going on, like how Trevor remembers all this stuff, or like what happened. Like we should get more to this story, and it's not there. It was really like I really did enjoy it. it wasn't enough, and I'm
Mhm.
very upset with the fact that they definitely sped through it, and I'm not okay with that. Yeah. Animation. That is our next
I
one.
loved it. I loved the animation. I'm an animation whore, so
It's not wrong. It's just not wrong.
so I really liked it because it was like what I was saying earlier to you guys that like it has like that 3D feel to it, but it's not quite there. You know what I mean? Like the way they had the models move like in the foreground to the background and stuff. It feels very natural, which is why I'm saying that it seems almost 3D-ish, but it's not. It's a very unique animation style. It's almost the same as the Dragon Prince. If you guys have looked at that animation before, it's very similar. Um, I'm gonna give it like a 4.5 just because like there's some really good fucking animation out there, so I can't give it a 5, but like it was pretty slick and pretty good. And the animation for when she does her spells is really nice and fluid. So I'm gonna say 4.5. Done.
See, I'm gonna go with 4, but that's just because there were moments where that 3D-esque feeling was
Hmm.
definitely there more so than it should have
Hmm.
been.
Yeah.
And like I noticed that instantly.
Yeah.
It's the, oh, that seems a little off.
Yeah.
Like that seems a little too CGI for me.
Yeah, sometimes,
Like
yeah, sometimes it
like
does
it was
that.
specifically the demons. Some
Yes.
of them were like too CGI'd. Like they needed to like bring that 3D scale down a little bit.
Yeah, I was like they were almost too texturized to be in that scene.
And
Like
it
there
made
was just
me some of the textures of them made me uncomfortable.
yep.
And the animation of the people themselves is really nice. It's just
Yep.
not my like they're more elegant looking than
Hmm.
anything. Like that's the way I kind of look at how the long faces are. Like
Hmm.
it's not it's nice. It's just not my favorite type of animation.
Yeah, you like the more rounded ones,
Yeah,
correct?
I like
Yeah.
the kind of even if it's
It's
not like
softer.
cutesy, it's more soft. Whereas
Yeah.
like Sypha, she looks her looks are a little confusing. She almost looks like she's supposed to be younger, but because her face is like long, you can't
Hmm.
really tell.
No, that was one thing that was kind of confusing. It was that I wasn't really sure where to put her in an age group because it seemed like the way they were portraying her was that she was older, but her face did look like she was almost like kind of
She was like
younger.
young, yeah, like it looked like she was like
Yeah.
barely an adult kind of age.
Yeah,
And
like
same with Hector. Like he kind of has that weird like he's in that weird mix of like you can't really tell
yeah.
where his age is because of how long the face is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say probably, yeah, 4.5 with Kenn on that one. I really loved the animation. I liked the fact that it was kind of like a mixture of like anime mixed with cartoon kind of style. I
Hmm.
really enjoyed that. But yeah, there was like the odd little thing that just stood out a little more than it shouldn't have. Yeah. And
Just
then
really don't like
finally,
texture.
our last one is our overall. What is our overall, based on like what we've already talked about, what we think? What is our overall rating of this show? I wanted to say anime. It's not an anime.
I'm just gonna
Animation,
stick.
animated show.
I'm just gonna stick with a 4, just because most of my answers were 4 and 3.5
Yeah.
and stuff. So
I'm sticking with a 4. It's definitely something I just really enjoy.
yeah, like it's really good, and it's for the main portion of it is well written for the most part, but it is still missing things. So that's why you can't have the full 5 because you're still missing some things that would make it better. And maybe the things that we're missing will be in the later seasons that we'll go into later. But for right now, there's things that we're still missing, and there are some flaws with the animation that Bree did bring up with the texture things that I didn't even think of until you brought them up. So that is a good point.
I just get very unnerved by texture.
No, I totally understand that. No, that's totally fine. So yeah, so I think that it's really good, but there's obviously room for improvement for sure. So definitely
Yeah.
a 4, I think.
Yeah, I think a 4 or just under a 4 for me would be about right.
Mhm.
I don't want to say like it's a 3.5. No, I'd say it's more like a 3.9. Kind of.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
Yeah,
somewhere up there. Like I would say generalized YA would be probably a 4-star. Because obviously it's not 3.5, and I don't want to break this down into like hundreds. So
It's 79% on Rotten Tomatoes audience score.
I'm not doing that. We're not doing that here. It's not happening. Because we will take forever doing this part if that's the case. But yeah, no, I think a 4 is a pretty good score for it. Yeah, there was just a little bit. They definitely were way too fast on the whole story. We already knew that. It needed to be slowed down a bit. This story needed to give us a little bit more information that we definitely didn't have. Maybe the next seasons will give us a little bit more insight in some of that. They definitely didn't give us a idea of like where things were happening more, which like we knew a bunch of city names, but we had no idea where they were in like the map aspect of it. So we never truly knew like how close they were or how far they were. We just it didn't help it. And then they're like the story was great and everything, but there was always those like little missing pieces that I wish we got to see. And I loved it. Otherwise, it's just there's so much I wish we got out of it, and we just didn't get it. And I'm like,
Well, we might get it later. That's the thing, right? There's still more content, thankfully.
I'm gonna finish watching the rest of the seasons, so like I'm just chilling. It's spooky month.
So speaking of, we gotta figure out what we're going to watch for the next time. Do we want to continue on with the rest of the series, or do we want a little bit of a break before we continue on with the series? What do we want to do for our next one? What we could do, what kind of anime do we want to go with? Like a more wholesome one, a more relaxed one, or do we want to go action-packed, let's do this kind of shit?
It's November. November is dry as fuck, so let's do some action-packed shit.
Action-packed. We could always
November is boring as shit.
We could always do one that we all, well, most of us, love and know. Kenn.
I know that was directed at me.
We could do Jujursu Kaisen.
Ooh, I've been wanting to see that. So that would be a good one.
So there is also the movie on it. So I don't know if we want to include the movie on this one or not include the movie on this one. That's up to you guys. But we are going to at least do the first season. There's 24 episodes. We have a whole month to get through them. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So yes, so if you guys want to join in on that one, feel free. You can probably find it on all the basic platforms. I'm pretty sure it's on Crunchyroll. I'm pretty sure it's on Funimation. Crunchyroll has both.
I'll never get over the
fact
that
it's got it in dubbed on so many languages. Okay, guys, they've got it dubbed English dub. They got Spanish dub. They got Portuguese dub. They got German dub. They got French dub. They got Italian dub. They got Catalan dubbed, and it keeps going.
I can't wait to torture my friend with me rewatching that and just showing him a scene that he's gonna hate.
And yes, there is a movie on it, guys. The movie is also on Crunchyroll as well, so you guys could check it out there too.
Cute.
So there we go, guys. It is on Funimation and it is on Crunchyroll, and there is the movie as well. So if we have enough time, we'll do the movie. If not, we won't cover the movie. We'll see. We'll decide that in later weeks, and we'll let you guys know what we decide on that one.
That'll be based off whether Kenn actually gets to it or not, because I'm slow as fuck.
Probably it's either Kenn or me, because it's us. We both have like there's both of us dealing with stuff, which hopefully it shouldn't be an issue anymore. But we'll see. I got to deal with a bunch of other drama now. But yes, so that's that, and have a good one. That's all the anime tea we have for you today. Be sure to like and comment if you enjoyed today's podcast. Let us know what you think of Castlevania. Next month, we will be covering Jujursu Kaisen, which can be found on both Crunchyroll and Funimation, if you'd like to join us. So if you enjoy our content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications.
Feel free to check us out. You can find links for our social media down below. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Ta-ta for now.